Who are you? Really, not your name, not your job, not the carefully curated story you tell yourself in the mirror every morning. I mean, beneath all that, when no one's watching, when you stop performing and the lights go out, who are you then? Because here's something no one told you. That you, the one you've always believed was you, might be nothing more than a story someone else wrote. Your thoughts, your values, your emotions. You didn't invent them. They were installed, silently, gradually, and without your consent. Let me say it clearly, without sugarcoating it. Everything you know about yourself is a lie. And in this video, we're going to unravel the illusion, not to comfort you, but to wake you up. Let's go back, not to a moment, but to a process so subtle, so invisible, that you didn't even know it was happening. You were being shaped, not sculpted by choice, but carved by culture. When was the first time someone told you what was right, what was normal, what you should be afraid of, what success means, what kind of person you should become? You probably don't remember, because it didn't happen once. It happened slowly, like a poison that doesn't taste like poison. It was in the bedtime stories, the rules at school, the tone in your parents' voice, the silence in a room when you cried too long. You were trained to want certain things, to suppress others, to behave, to fit in, to survive. And you did. You learned how to smile when it hurt, how to say what others wanted to hear, how to be good. But here's the truth. You didn't choose your fears. You didn't choose your desires. You didn't even choose the words you think with. They were given to you, one, by a world that needed you to be functional, not free. And now, there's an impostor in your mind, that voice in your head, the one that narrates your life, tells you who you are, what you're worth. That voice might not be you at all. It might just be the echo of everyone else. So I'll ask again, who are you when the script ends? You were not born with an identity. You were born with a brain, raw, open, impressionable. And from the moment you took your first breath, that brain was flooded with programming, language, belief systems, cultural codes, rules wrapped in rituals. You didn't discover the world. You were taught to see it a certain way. You were taught what beauty is, what failure looks like, what it means to be a man, a woman, a person worth listening to, and you believed it. Because it was everywhere, almost in the textbooks, in the cartoons, in the casual comments no one questioned. You absorbed it like oxygen, never realizing it was shaping every thought you'd ever have. Here's what they don't tell you. Every emotion you feel, every opinion you hold, every decision you think is yours, happens within a conceptual system that you didn't design. You live inside a mental architecture, and you call it truth. But it's not truth, it's a narrative. One version, one cultural lens. And here's the part that stings. That voice you protect, the one that says, this is who I am, and that's not essence. That's conditioning. That's a puppet dancing to the rhythm of a language you didn't choose. Do you feel it now? That uncomfortable itch, that suspicion that maybe, just maybe, you're not the author of your own mind. Because once you see it, once you realize your most personal thoughts are not entirely yours, everything begins to shake. Now let's go deeper, into your feelings, into the private territory you thought was sacred, untouchable, yours. But what if I told you, even your emotions have been colonized? What if your pain, your joy, your fear aren't as personal as you think? You learned how to feel by watching others. You learned how to suffer appropriately, how to cry quietly, how to smile when it's expected, how to stay silent when something inside you wants to scream. There's an invisible manual, passed down through generations, that tells you what feelings are acceptable. How long is too long to be sad, when it's okay to be angry? Which feelings make you weak? Which ones make others uncomfortable? And the most tragic part? You obey it. You apologize for being too emotional. You call your anger stress. You call your sadness a bad day. You sanitize your soul just to make yourself more palatable. But your raw emotions, The wild, irrational, messy ones you buried. They're real, and they're trying to speak. Maturity in this world isn't about growing into yourself. It's about shrinking into what's acceptable, about translating rage into productivity, about turning grief into resilience, about putting labels on your suffering so you can stay useful. They've taught you not just how to think, but how to feel inside a cage. So ask yourself this: have you ever truly felt without permission? Have you ever been angry without guilt? Sad without explanation? Excited without restraint? Because that's where the real rebellion begins. Not in shouting louder, but in finally feeling without censorship. Emotion is not weakness. Emotion is resistance. And maybe the parts of you you've been hiding are not your flaws. Maybe they're the last honest parts of you still alive. They told you to be consistent, to find your true self and stick with it, to have a clear, stable identity, something firm you can build a life around. But let me ask you something. Why? Why do you need to be the same person every day? Why is being consistent more important than being real? Because the truth is, your mind isn't linear. You're not a perfectly written story with a beginning, middle, and end. You're not a brand. You're not a mission statement. You are a collision, a beautiful chaos of contradictions, impulses, forgotten memories, unexplored instincts. But they never taught you how to hold contradictions. So every time a feeling rises that doesn't match your story, you push it down. You call it a bad mood. You fear it as weakness. You frame it as a mistake. But what if it's not a mistake? What if that contradiction, that inconsistency, is actually the real you, breaking through the lie? What if that doubt you suppress, that shift in opinion, that sudden longing for something that doesn't fit your narrative, isn't betrayal, but freedom? You're not betraying yourself by changing. You're betraying yourself by staying the same for too long. Personal coherence, that tidy, packaged, Instagram-friendly identity, isn't clarity. It's a cage, a performance you've repeated for so long, you forgot it was never yours. Because here's the truth. You weren't born with a story. You were handed one. And now you protect it like it's sacred, even if it's slowly killing you. So maybe it's time to stop holding it together, to stop defending who you were, and finally make room for who you might become, if you dared to let go. So what now? What happens when you realize that the self you've been defending isn't really you? This is where most people stop, right at the edge of awakening. Because beyond this point, there's no going back. You start questioning everything: your wants, your goals, your suffering. Not to destroy yourself, but to finally see yourself. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And you start asking, "Where did this come from? Who taught me to want this? Whose voice is this in my head?" And here's what you'll find. Much of what you've called mental struggle isn't dysfunction. It's rebellion. It's your mind trying to reject a structure it didn't build. It's your emotions refusing to be translated into acceptable terms. It's your body resisting the polished, polite version of life you were told to live. You were never broken. You were hacked. And now, you're waking up. So stop healing just to fit in. Stop fixing yourself to be functional in a system that doesn't care about your soul. Start dismantling, piece by piece, belief by belief, fear by fear, not to build a better identity, not to become a new you, but to create space, a blank page, a silent room, a wild field, where real thought and real emotion can grow without permission, without performance, because that's where true freedom begins, not in perfection, but in possibility. If you're still here, if you've listened this far, something inside you has already started to crack. That's not confusion. That's the beginning of awareness. The quiet moment when the illusion starts to flicker and truth starts to seep in. You're seeing the script now, the story you were handed, the mask you've been wearing, the systems you never consented to. And now comes the real choice. Do you go back to the comfort of who you were, or keep walking into the unknown of who you might become? Yes, it's terrifying to stand without a label, without a script. But that fear you're feeling, That's freedom beginning to breathe. Because once you stop playing the game, the system can't scare you, it can't punish you, it can't own you. So if something in this stirred you, if a part of you whispered yes when the rest of you wanted to look away, mark this moment. Leave a comment with this phrase: I wasn't born, I was built, and now I'm starting to dismantle myself. Not for the algorithm, not to be seen, but to honor what's waking up inside you. And if you want to keep asking the hard questions, if you want to explore what it means to be free, unfiltered, and fully awake, like this video, subscribe, share it, not just to follow, but to remind yourself, you're not alone in this. There are others breaking too, because the silence that comes after waking up sounds different.